they have this synergy kind of. But if you ask me what is system, like that's my point. Like this kind of easy answer. Like system is just a system. Like you just need to create it. That's all. For example, you can create system how to eat soup, right? It's a system.
Okay, yeah.
This is a system how you can like take 5 players to be on the server and cooperate with each other. This is why you need systems, that's all. But then if you go inside and what is inside the system, how it builds, this is different story.
Well, everyone probably...
Yeah, he cannot tell.
Yeah. And that I wouldn't ask for, but because with this, does anybody think culture plays into system, right? Because you see the way that different teams interact with one another, and for some teams it's a bit more business, for some teams it's really chummy and friendly, right? Everyone kind of has a different way of approaching. So does culture factor into system?
I think it can.
Yeah.
It can, but I don't think it must.
Okay.
You know, it
So it's
depends on the
different
players
per
you have.
team, in-game leader, coach.
Yeah, for example, it's very difficult for a coach to come into my team and understand so much more than me about CS. I'm playing for 21 years. So I kind of have an idea on how the game needs to be played and how I like to play the game. And of course, a coach can come in and, hey, you're missing this point or missing that point. But in the end, he's not going to be able to full change what I think about CS. And for example, for other teams, maybe they have youngsters, like you have guys just coming up, and then you add someone with experience, and of course, it has so much to share that the players are going to be like, okay, this guy is pointing us to the direction that we really want to go. That's more like the Harley systems, like they say at least. It feels like he has so many youngsters that really believe that he understands a lot, and he has this full voice. So I think it can, but it doesn't really need to be. It depends on which type of group you have, I think at least. But I never coach, so I could be saying shit.
But then it's a fallen system.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Then if you need a coach, he just needs to stick to fallen system. But there still should be some system.
Yeah.
That's the point.
That's why I think, like, when you look at the system, I mean, like when you look at the Fallen like career, of course they are really high in 16, 17, and the new high is now, because between it was a bit less good, to be honest. But I think the big difference I think with the same I see between the two eras is like the Furry Kingdom. That's why you needed this piece.
Yeah.
That's playing a bit alone, but that creates space for the others, etc. And that's why, like, for example, you just miss one player. Like, look at 2024 Vitality, 2025. Like having someone, we just needed like someone that wanted to lurk, basically. Like someone that it's a tough role nowadays. Of course, it's not like the Get Right era, because the Get Right era was a happy era when you could kill people from behind. No, it's tough to kill someone from behind because people are aware. So yeah, you just need that piece that makes you good at that job. You know, of course, like you need the right pieces. You can't like take 4 pieces of wood and be a good agile. That's for sure. You need skill player. You need people that take initiative. You need to take. And in our system, we always need like some players that are like, I'm pretty sure like Navi, when they stopped like the Ukrainian / CS team, Blade came up and said, yeah, I want those players. I want those kind of players, because in my system, at least, that's the way we can build stuff and I can be the best you can be. So that's why I take the reference of that, because sometimes like just a kind of player helps you to just be like the best version of yourself.
Fer was playing with the 1 ear.
At some point, he had a big infection on the ear, and he could not stop playing because of the calendar. And the doctor said that he had to go to Brazil and stop for 1 month or 2 months. And it was like, hell yeah, I'm just gonna play. I'm gonna stick. And then,
So how long?
I would say for months.
1 month.
At least once.
Because sometimes rumors like 1 year, you know.
Yeah, no, I would say close to 1 year, 2 years. Well, close to 1 year, 1 year and a half. Because let's say he learned that he had to do something in February, so he was feeling bad on the ear from January. And then he was like, I'm going to go back to Brazil in February. I'm going to do that in January next year.
It's crazy. Because it creates a little element of randomness, you know,
Oh yeah.
in your decision making.
But that's why he just runs and takes duel fast duels, then he doesn't want to hear it.
Yes.
He believes in his skill.
And you remember,
he's not thinking, he's shooting. Yeah, exactly. I can't hear anyway.
It's all intuition. If you think about it. Even the sound doesn't really matter. It's all intuition. Overpass, when we play so many overpass games, I was playing A with him.
Fontaine.
We didn't have any like super set still what he's gonna do, or like, bro, he's gonna go up balloons and that's it. He doesn't tell me what I need to do for him, or what he doesn't even know what he's gonna do.
But that's actually what sometimes the good part is. Like, it's just intuition. You play off what you feel like is the right play, and instead of thinking about it, you know.
But it's super difficult to manage to do this nowadays as well.
Oh,
I think.
Yeah, it's tougher.
Tough.
There's so much more to think
Now
about.
you need to prepare more things. Like even imagine Banana you don't prepare stuff, you just play on intuition.
Yeah.
Not gonna work.
But do you remember Ikinder, like old version, like when he was playing in VP, like how much he was going through the smoke?
I was just taking just no banana. You knew that
I think
in the
there
first
was-
25 seconds there will be a fight.
There was also a little element of randomness.
Yeah, of course.
There is, which is good, I think.
Yeah.
But he believes so much in what he does, he did, that it works 75% of the time.
Yeah, it
Even
worked
though
all
he
the
went
way.
through a smoke, if you believe in it, that's what always I say. It can be the worst call ever. If everyone believes in the call, you're gonna make it.
It's better than the best call.
Sometimes
Yeah.
they tell me a nice call. I say no, they were 4 on the bomb site. You just shoot. Yes, it was actually a really bad call for myself.
Yeah.
But you guys like, yeah, maybe one was blind, and then you believe so much in what you do. That's why, like, when people lose faith in the IGL, that's the moment where it's over. GG.
But imagine like 5 years going through the smokes, how much you can learn like from every time you go through, like little details.
The algorithm thing, right?
Yes, yes.
Phelps was like that.
I've been in smoke like once. He was like 5,000. So you imagine.
So Phelps had something with smokes that he would be able to use smokes as a temporary place to stay, let things flow, and then he'll come out and kill people, which was great for his gameplay, but awful for whoever's playing with him, right? As you imagine, you're on a bomb site with Phelps. Okay, they're coming. You're expecting like he kills one, you kill next, boom. No, he decides like, you're solo, right? So, but yeah, he made it work so many times, like so many triple kills, double kills that you don't see it happen. So yeah, some people are creative around those things. And Yakindar, I think, shoots so hard that he can do those things. You know, he understands the game so hard.
He's faster, bro.
Yeah, he plays a different game than that, for sure.
That's just a crosser.
Rider must be somewhere here also.
He doesn't see anything else. It's just like
Imagine it's
He has
a
a neck problem.
You can move on hard. Your rider close to like to the screen.
you get everything closer to the
Yeah.
He has a neck problem to watch the radar.
Straight in his eyes as well.
Bro, that would be
When he joined the team, he told us that we would have to communicate that we're dead sometimes.
Really?
Like we're doing setup and then we got killed. Like he doesn't even check who killed who, right? Like, did you kill or did you get killed? So he told us that he eventually would need to say, hey, I'm dead. And I thought that it would have to happen a lot.
It's weird.
But actually it doesn't need too much.
I'm dead. It's weird to say.
I die.
That's what I
Like, if I'm playing with games, sometimes I die.
To be. No, you're on. To be.
Basically, yeah. When he said it for the first time, I was like, "Bro, this is gonna be insane." The guy needs to see for every time. He doesn't really need it much.
I think there was something interesting you guys were just talking about with the intuition and it being harder to make those type of moves in the modern game. Why?
People are ready now. Like it's like, you know, you create a new strat. In 2 weeks, it's
Leaked.
it's GG.
From
Like-
Prax as well.
Like exactly. Like
Sometimes from
one-
Prax.
I saw one strat from Furia that they did back in maybe September or October. We call that Furia Nuke. It's like to break the door smoke and go, because people do execute out, so they find a way to execute from door. Well, nowadays you can't do this strat anymore. It's GG. People counter
They
it.
know they
They
counter
go
it.
Tetris, they pick on timing, they go.
They already know what's
events.
coming.
Yeah, exactly. They know. And this strat long 1 month max.
It becomes meta for a month, and now that's the new thing.
Yeah.
And then they're watching on the Skybox or something. They're like, oh, so that's how I play again.
find a way to counter it. And
Oh,
then
he
play
holded it.
something.
How did he do it?
Everyone, they do. It's actually nice when you see someone stealing your strat. You're like, ah.
Yeah, because
It's mine, yeah. Like Dastan has Messi in a bounty said, can you guys create new strats, then we can copy them.
But it's actually funny when we go back in time because all the way back to maybe like 15, 16, you'd practice and then you'd have like this strat coming into the major and you're thinking, this strat is so good that we're not going to be showing it anymore. I don't feel like that's like the case anymore because nowadays everyone's just using Skybox and they just copy each other's strats and then it will be leaked regardless. So
Yeah.
it's so much different nowadays with the plays because you can come up with this play and it will work maybe once or twice and then someone will be ready for it. Like everyone's going to have this idea that it can happen. Whereas I feel like it's like you need to be you always need to be a couple of steps ahead to make it work. Like if you find something new, do something new from this tactic all the time if you can. It's crazy how the game is just developing, but there's just so many more tools that you can get information from. And then also just, let's be honest, like players are just better than 10 years ago. Like everyone is
So much better.
everyone is so much more aware. They know so much more utility. They know so much more about the game and the possibilities, and they just like think Counter-Strike in a completely different way. Like you can get away with so many things 10 years ago that you can't anymore. So
So now meta is changing like very fast because of this Skybox thing. Now
But
just
the practice is really bad to have like the data of the practice. Like it helps so much like the others. Like you can just watch all your practice now. You can look at like what your opponent
Your
does.
practice plus your opponent practice. That's the problem in the end.
That's
thing.
you could watch
I
yourself.
actually think Edge would be very nice if you could only watch your POV.
Yes, exactly.
They should have this button where you only enable that data that you were showing.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, someone will find a way to cheat and then still get anyone's data. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because and also like sometimes we also really paranoid. That's paranoid. Yeah. Is
Yeah,
it?
paranoid, yeah.
That's when you play like I don't know against Russians in a scrim, and then you play first game of the tournament against Russian. We scared of our pistols, for example.
Oh,
Showing
big
up pistol, I'm 99.9% sure it happened against us, for example. Like the timing was too good of what they did to counter us, and that's also like, I mean, it's also like a would be helpful to not have like the scabbard, even though they will still remember and say yeah we go B, but there they can just show to people, do a video and show look the pistol is like that.
Yeah.
So you know I think it's bad.
There was one game I played. It was actually against Kaden as well. It was in Liquid. I think we stacked Aim Inferno, and as soon as the pistol was finishing, he started screaming, "Someone sold their pistol!"
Really?
No, Wario, someone saw your pistol, that's why we're for it.
Wow.
Oh no. And he just
That's crazy to hear that. Okay, I will never say if I knew it, I will never say it. I'm like, you know, I would love to make him a
But let's be honest, I think we've all tried to think that we have a friend playing someone that we know, and then you say like, yeah, last time we played in practice, they went so much B, or they have this B experience. You're like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, that was how you gave kind of information back in the days. Nowadays, it's kind of, you just get it off.
Normally did it, right?
Yeah, you don't really exactly know what they're
Yeah,
gonna
you know exactly what's going to happen.
Imagine
Especially
he baited you. He didn't know anything.
It could be.
And
Maybe next podcast you see us just
The whole game, you overthink, like change everything.
No, they know everything we need to change.
The mind games. But you were saying the meta's evolving so fast. So how do you? How is it? You just always taking from other people? How do you stay ahead individually? Like it's not an easy thing to master because if it's going so quick, right? Nothing's fresh.
Yeah, I think nowadays meta is like maybe at least 50% of your success if you know meta. Even like in 2021, we were winning only because we were working a lot on meta, like how we can abuse things that where there are gaps on the map, people doing some execution, let's say, or like some move or like element, taking some spot on the round, and then you can see the gap and you can think like, okay, we can try to maybe try to fight versus this, and people are just copying each other, but they don't think about this move. We can try to abuse this move. And before, like there was a lot of situations like this. I don't know, like there's two people didn't use a lot of car play, like using a player on the car when people just executing for long on T side. Nobody was using car, like, and we started to use it like every time, and basically like spoils everything for T side, and like this kind of examples. And obviously nowadays everything is different, but still like meta is just the same idea. Meta is there, but it changes much faster. Like it can be one tournament, and then you need to already like start anti-stratting what people are doing, and you can see everything much faster because of SkyEdge, and also it's spreading much faster because of SkyEdge. People not wasting too much time to watching demos and copy set polls, everything, and that's why meta is very fast. And you just need to always to be up to date today to know there can be any one strong move on the map, and if you don't know it, on the map 12, team will abuse it like in important round. You will already like 0.5 or 0.6.
So when you look, for example, it's a small example, but example on Mirage, I used to start a move last year where I was window left side, and whenever I heard the guy on the ground throwing nades, I was jumping from window and killing him. I couldn't do it for that long because then they were two and one thing. So I did a few times like that, and a lot of people took it, and as well like nowadays it's not working.
You jump and he's already boosted.
Yeah, exactly. Or someone is throwing nades and one is on the window holding this move.
Wait for this guy.
Yes, exactly.
Well, that's what
Let Apex there.
That's what I think is interesting now. Also, the fact that Anubis has had a change, right, with the window being moved in middle. You know, people from yesterday already. I watched 3D match. You know how. Okay, they played against BCK, maybe not the most prepared team in the world, but you could just tell that 3D Max had put a lot of energy into actually just find a lot of plays and use the window. And they won 3 rounds purely by the guy either hiding in the window or getting flashed out window or whatever, and they basically won the entire match just by doing that specific thing. And that is why that's why I'm always so excited for when there's like just this small change in maps that it creates opportunities, it creates new timings, and some teams are just a little bit lazy when it comes to you being creative or actually thinking.
They're waiting to copy something.
They're just waiting for someone to do the work, and they will copy, right? But it, as Blake mentioned, you know, like you can just find like a specific play or a specific thing that is kind of off meta, and you can abuse that. You can literally win the entire map just by doing this one. And then it takes a couple of tournaments, a couple of matches. Then someone has found like a triple nade for this one or a molly that covers this one, and then all of a sudden the whole thing you can't do it anymore. Now you need to start thinking in a different way, and that's why the game is just evolving so much. Because I also feel like. Specifically in some teams, I suppose Robson, your team is a guy that likes to spend a lot of time on the server, finding small gimmicks and like with the nades and everything. You know, and we had matches doing that. Also in Mortality, but also back in Astralis, he would spend a lot of time finding these specific nades that would create a specific play, mostly for himself, but also for the team. And you can just win a very crucial round by having something in the back pocket that you can pull off.
That's also like nowadays. That's me. The way I'm trying to work is like creating something new that no one saw before. Like with a new smoke and new thing and try, and sometimes it's a disaster. Let's be honest, sometimes you create something new, you think it's gonna be super smart, and it doesn't work at all. But sometimes it helps you for a few events. And I had that, like for example, on a few maps last year that we did something on a map that saved us, like a couple of times. Like, it's not a small example, but I think how many people I damaged on Banana by just doing the HCT from the small wall. Like I'm one of the only guys that does this HE. It makes me win rounds. Like just by this HE, it still works. Sometimes it was a little bit less good, but do small like gimmicks that can help you. And that's the way I like to play is with the small gimmicks like that. Like something that it's nowadays. Peter said something that it's tough to surprise people nowadays. Okay, like people are aware of a lot of stuff. So trying to find the small thing that's gonna be like that's gonna just put them in a way that they won't be able to think about that one is really tough. But when you find it, it's a lot satisfying.
It's like you come up with like 4 ideas, thinking, hey, this might surprise them, and then it doesn't actually. But then the 5th one you come up with is like, hey, this is actually really good, and then you can use that. And it's always it's so satisfying when you find something and then you pull it off against an opponent in an important round where you're like, wow, he did not expect that, or like you blow up the smoke in a specific way, so it's only like clears like a part of the smoke, or it's like a flash setup that allows you to, I don't know, get a double kill or whatever it is. It just feels so satisfying knowing that you found that one thing that worked and to give you an edge in the game.
So in your era, it was like a cheese was a big thing, right?
Cheese was like the thing. I mean, like we like stacking nades on specific spots where people were boosting. Like Overpass is probably the biggest example. Like nading that guy, jumping for information for water, the guy playing close to monster. On the small ramp, that could be stuff like that. But that was like the main thing. Every time we went into preparation back in the days, that was like, okay, we look at the heat map, so where do people actually play up? Okay, this guy, he's like, they have maybe these 3 kind of setups. He likes to play this position. Then we just went in and spent maybe sometimes an hour just finding 3 specific nades for that position, because it's also so frustrating to be on the receiving end of these nades, because if there's a guy, if you get a triple nade in your position, you're like, holy shit, they know exactly what I'm doing, right? That kind of in the head for this guy, you know? And and on the other side, from our end, it's like, we knew exactly what we're doing. Like, it just gives a lot of confidence. But nowadays, it's more about, in my opinion, it's about finding gaps in people's executes. Where can you stand, where you maybe like dodge a specific flash, or what is the timing you nowadays? You also have this tool where you can simulate people's executes, right? So you know exactly, like if I dodge this specific flash, that will give me an opening of 2 seconds to actually kill the guy coming out that is looking somewhere else, because he thinks that I'm supposed to be blind, but I know I need to dodge this flash. You know, it's so much more complicated nowadays. But if you really go into details, you can find a lot of ways to like abuse people's executes. And
how strong was the thing with in the smoke with Rider? Remember when you can zoom it in? It was something, because I never used it, and it
was for the fades, yeah, when the smoke was fading.
It was a strong thing or no?
It was really strong.
For people that knew
how to use it. I mean, Glaive was really strong using it, and Sipek was really good at using it. It's like, so they went into the smoke, and the thing is, I don't know how it worked that well. I know how it worked, but I don't know like specifically. But when they walked into the smoke and you were looking in direction where you were expecting the people to show up, they would show up on the radar as a smoke. Because when the smoke disappeared in the game when the actual smoke disappeared. The smoke was still there, but it's going away. You could actually, the radar wouldn't recognize there was smoke, so you could actually see there was a guy before he actually popped.
Like a split second, right?
That's 2 seconds.
Half a second, but you could have time to kill one. At least.
And what Clay was apparently really good at was to have his crosshair like in the right position, but then just look at the radar but shooting at the same time. He was like shooting in the direction of where he was, and then he would just get a lot of kills by doing
That was
that.
very good.
So like sitting in smokes, I remember that was like one of the things back in the days when you had a smoke, you literally couldn't hold a smoke because the guy sitting in the smoke would have the advantage. That was like, I hated that. You couldn't look at smoke, so you like...
Hide and pick the smoke.
Wait, this smoke to fade, okay.
APK was loving.
Care, smoke is fading.
Yeah, exactly. Don't look at it.
Run! Smoke's gonna fade.
Yeah. That was horrible.
To come back at something that I was thinking, like, it's crazy, like, for example, in 2023, when we were in Vitality together, we were really good on Nuke. We had like a 20 win streak or something. And what was our main thing was to play inner. So back then, the people were using the same execute. They were like molotoving sides and flashing backside that when you go out hut,
Wouldn't get
you're
it.
not blind. But me, I was like, this wasn't working anymore. So I was that time invented the molly that went up and doing flashes that was behind them that could flash everyone, not only this guy, but the guy Tetris, the guy at the middle of side because people were playing there. And we could have used this strat for 6 months, and it was working actually in 2023. And everyone copied, like, I still see people using the same lineup I used to use.
On top of
To
the
do
best.
on top of the smoke, like to use the flash that bounce,
Yeah.
that could, you don't get blind when you go out, and people were super blind. So,
I remember driving you a lot of utility for doing that.
yeah, so I had four matches.
And I was like,
First,
second, and I was like, wait, there's a molly, third, fourth. I was doing that.
I don't see the molly.
Yeah, exactly. People were not doing that, but we had the hip.
Yeah.
People molly huts, I wait to do the flashes.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember that. Good. And that works really well, like for small amount, and then people find the counter, and you need to find something new again.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So that's
5 flashes.
but
Yeah.
Give me 8 flashes.
Oh my god, that was good.
the takeaway here is like the level of variety required, and then I guess the other balancing act. And I know you guys said it's harder to make intuition plays now, but those are the rounds that make the difference. When your player makes an intuition play and gets like a 3K, and then it wins a round that you haven't just won tactically, right? Like finding that balance and not. Because you see this happen with AWPers a lot. Like AWPers will go into teams and they'll be like really flashy and like to make aggressive moves and stuff, but then they get like, they have a couple of bad games where they're losing those openers and then they really regress. Maybe they've been told off, maybe they don't want to continue to be the opening liability and they don't make plays anymore, and now it's like, well, we don't have that guy making the move. So like being able to walk the delicate balance between you're allowed to make plays, it's okay if you fuck up, right? But like you need to limit it because sometimes you will lose us games. Like that feels like a delicate balance. You're gonna have, you've obviously been doing that at the moment with Molotov, right? Like he's such a fresh face. Lucky he's been pretty damn good.
But I think the best example for that scenario is Ultimate on Liquid, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because Ultimate is very good at those specific plays, specific times where he's going to go for those entries. And it did work a lot in the very beginning because nobody was playing against him and he was hitting hard. He was hitting hard, he hits the shots, you know. But then he plays 1, 2, 3 maps on the same map, and then in the other part of being a player is there is the all-around that you also have to be good at. You have to be good to just play without any tricks, you know. So if you can only do the tricks, then the all-around is not going to be there. So you have to find the balance. And then this guy has Zayo, the all-around master.
You always
doesn't need the tricks.
Actually, something that you need to work on. That's exactly like we used to call with Zadig, for example. We said sometimes practice will be boring because we will work on basic stuff, like playing defensive on the bomb side, not with the new tricks, not with the pick, just a 5v5, because we need to be able to play this round and be good at them. And that's boring in practice. Like I remember in Vertigo, back then the meta was to play retake B. For 10 practice in a row, he was playing around B, and the people were executing B against us. But we wanted to work on that, and that's annoying. Because you don't play on your feelings, you have to do the same stuff, it's robotic, it's annoying. But then we went super good on Vertigo and won most of the retake B because we worked on them. So yeah, the plays is good, but like in mostly as IGL, of course you need to trust your teammates with. That's the basic stuff as IGL. You need to trust that sometimes they go for plays, but sometimes, at least for me, I tell them no. No, the round has to play together, and I don't want any individual because I'm also in the heads. I have, like right now we have the advantage. We dominate, so let me take care of that, and maybe let's do it later, but not now. So I think this balance
Yeah,
by letting the players do their own because they need that, but don't let them too much doing it because our goal is, as IGL, is our team to play good together, to finish the round, to win the trade, to finish on the bomb side with good nades, to have a good execute, to finish the round. So
Sorry.
For example, practicing today, it feels so difficult to practice good practice, honestly. Because you're going to play the tier 2 teams, and the teams are trying to get to the top, and every single round they're gimmicking something.
Yeah.
Every single round they're trying something.
Yeah.
Like literally, I was playing Legacy now recently on Praxis Inferno. They were pushing apps at CT like 2-3 rounds, bro. But not only pushing apps, going to the door, hiding on the white door on alt mid at CT. Then you're like, what are you really practicing here? You're checking if you're not watching apps, basically, and then if you're not watching apps, you won the round.
I think that's like.
Yeah, but that's so.
But that's kinda like
I get crazy about that. With practice, when you play for such a long time like us, and you have like shit practice like that, it annoys me so bad. I'm talking a lot in practice to people to tell them like, please let us play, please. Like, I want to practice. Yeah, like like for a long time, a short execute on Inferno was impossible to do in practice. For a long time as IGL, I didn't have a short execute because I was not able to finish 5v5 on Inferno. Impossible. Taking banana, fighting me. Everyone.
But it's the same thing with Overpass. Like with CTs, they would always push fountains, they would all push up balloons, they would always fight in practice. And then as soon as you get into an official game and you play it slow and people
Two A-bomb sites.
they go back to the bomb side and they're so afraid of it. And it's been like that for.
It's impossible to play Paravision. Paravision is completely opposite. Go to the tournament and play Paravision. They're not going to give you an inch. They're not going to try anything. And then you were used to, okay, they try here, we get a kill, 5v4, oh, we try here, 4v4. Go play Paravision, we're going to need your end games on 35 seconds, and that's it, bro.
Yeah,
if you don't have them,
that's exactly that. Like, how much is different. Like, Overpass is the best example of a map where, on Inferno, the two maps where people play so aggressive and sometimes in official, not a bit more because Banana is really aggressive place, etc. But for a long time, and you couldn't do anything during practice and official. You have all the space in the world, but you don't know what to do. Like, he will be here, he will be here.
one out then, 35 seconds, bro. What do we do that?
I didn't go on this map yet.
I don't remember when I've done like a fully executed practice on Overpass.
Yes.
I don't remember if I've ever done it.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably once, twice. But other than that, it's always fighting for
Practice.
Yeah, but honestly,
It's hard to play by feeling on scrims, or practicing playing by feeling. I think it's useless. No, like you were saying something about like practicing like more approach where you like control the situation and then retaking B, for example. And if you compare like this with playing on screen by feeling, like what is by feeling? Like people will play different on official game, right?
Who will play by feeling in a 14 games? Like, except the big players that have like 10 years experience and that will take the balls and put it on the table. Like no one else.
But you still aim like for grand finals.
Yes.
Your main obstacle is there, right?
Exactly.
So you need to still remember this.
Okay.
sometimes it looks like feeling, but it's not feeling. For example, I was playing an Overpass match, 12-11 for the opponent. I was playing against Pain Gaming. And then I saw DGT never holds left side monster. Like his T side, he never goes to my left when I'm pushing monster. So I was watching my preparation, I was like, this guy never goes there. And then 12-11, I'm like, I'm gonna push this. We need something, we're losing the rounds. And then I push and I get this guy, we win OT, we win the match. They're like, oh, see, like he had the experience and he had the balls to do it on 12-11. Bro, this was planned before. If I didn't have anything, I would be embarrassed.
That's where the preparation really comes in handy, because if you spot something that you haven't used yet, and then that's the funny thing when people are watching it from the outside, or if we're talking about something on the disc, like we have an idea of what's happening, and Fallen was so smart because he did this, but as you mentioned, it was just done like you prepared this beforehand, right? It's not like you're sure you have the experience to. One thing is that you trust your gut to go for this type of that requires some balls and some experience as well, right? But it's so funny that people can have like different ideas of how the game is actually unfolding to what's actually the reality.
Is your team, so Na'Vi, right? Because when I look at all the different teams and their approaches and stuff, Na'Vi is Blade system, we had the system talk before, but it feels like there's a lot of the decision tree, right? It comes from you educating the players on the choices you want them to make. But then that balance we were just talking about of your players playing, right? Like making moves or showing some flair, like Wonderful at the major, that's when I was like, okay, now we're seeing Wonderful make those moves, right? Just some events you use is like, okay, we're just going to play pretty standard, and then when you get to an event like the major, you're like, yeah, I want you to be off the leash, or is that did that just happen by chance? It's like the Skadoodle situation, right? When Skadoodle happened for Cloud9 and he decided he actually wanted to play Counter-Strike and not just hold lines, right? Like, is that something Wonderful just was doing, or is that something that you guys like facilitated for that event?
I think it's all about his confidence.
Okay.
Like nothing changed. Like basically, we didn't have a different approach for his specific style, and obviously, it's very hard to play and win tournaments if you play only by scripts. So you need to have to play by feeling, and even like 11, 11, 12, 12. In my opinion, like all tier 1 players should have this ability. Like for example, like Robs, for example. Then you already like studied opponent during these rounds, and you already know there is some gap. So it was not your preparation from before the game, but during the game you found already something, because you tried this approach, and you understood that eventually there is a gap, and you can use it by like using this flexibility, not a script, right? But you need to be vocal basically to say about this. Otherwise, maybe you will be not confident, hesitant, and then you will never do it. So that's my point. Like you must always have an option during the round, play by feeling. This is like should be basic for all tier 1 teams, and that's why we never like block it. But it's also comes with confidence, because I can say it before the game, but then in the middle of the round, like 40 seconds left, I cannot like push him in the back and like say like
It's time to do that one. That's what Bob doesn't want you to do.
Yeah. So it's all about confidence, and as soon as you're hesitant, it's already like very hard life. Very hard life.
That's what when I'm watching these games, and you can see it's tough for certain in-game leaders in different teams, where when you guys finish games and you give interviews and say, oh, the comms weren't very good. When I digest that, what I think is, okay, like the ideas weren't flowing, right? Like, obviously it's bad if someone doesn't call what's open or whatever within like a mid-round or like what you're holding. But for me, when I hear that, I think, yeah, the ideas weren't flowing. This guy wasn't, you hear it when people talk about connecting and whatnot, right? And the problem is, you can't make your players do those things. You just have to create the environment that they will do it on a regular basis. And that for me like is the hard part, because it's not guaranteed every day. And that's where the in-game leaders of the world have to start trying to pull them out with calls. So that's where you have to be outmaneuvering the opponent, because you're not getting the ideas required from those players to finish those rounds. That has to be one of the worst feelings as a leader. Like when you're not getting what you need, but you know that it's there. Like, I couldn't even imagine how you tap into that.
We call that, for example, us, it's called the ping pong, like just being able to talk like and have an answer. So like, okay, we take this mid control, okay, flash me here, okay, I'm here, I'm ready to react, etc. Because as you said, nothing is always full prepared. You have a ton of shit, and us, the way we like to play is just communicate to each other. So try to link each other in a round. So yeah, when sometimes I don't know, we finish A on Mirage, we took mid control, we finish A, and there is no talks, who is taking the space there, who is smoking there. Then yeah, for you as IGL, that's the moment you know, it's the moment you know that it's a bit fucked up. So everyone has their own way to react. Me, I'm a bit pushy. I'm like, guys, no way we do that or we will lose.
Yeah.
So either you let them do another map control and let them like to do the right ping pong, or you call something
Direct.
script.
Yeah.
Direct, or you call everything. Okay, let's do a slow before we finish with this first.
But then you lose focus on your crosshair, right? Because you're having a micromanage.
And that's enough.
That's why. Easy to say. That's why you get 0-90.
But one thing is obviously the communication is also about listening to each other. I mean, like that's one thing that is sometimes very overlooked, because communication, in my opinion, is obviously it's also one thing is what comes out of your mouth, but the thing that is sometimes very overlooked, because communication, in my opinion, is obviously. It's also one thing is what comes out of your mouth, but you also need to listen to what your teams are saying, because if you get too focused, too zoned in, or whatever, like too narrow, like vision about what's in front of you, you might miss that thing that will allow, that actually gives away that you have a timing that you play on, or something that your teammate has done for you that you mess up the timings of the execute or whatever it is, and you don't get that space that you're supposed to take when your teammates have done something to actually allow that space. And it can be very hard sometimes. If you're like, one of my strengths as a player was always to be just like super focused on what's like in front of me, and super like zoned in, and sometimes that would just eventually be me missing like a key something, not like a flash timing, but like the overall picture of what's happening on the map right now. and that will sometimes put me in a position where I would lose, as I said before, like timings. And that is why listening to each other, you mentioned that a lot when we get like a snippet of what you guys are. If there's something not working with you guys in terms of communication, you often say that we're not listening to each other, people not paying attention to what's actually being said to them, and that can just shift the communication to be kind of awkward, like you don't do what you're supposed to do, like.
And the run for viewers then look awkward.
Yes, exactly.
I remember the example in we had this conversation in Hong Kong. Like Peter and Robs are something that they're really good at, but at the same time really bad at. It's like they're really so focused that sometimes they don't hear. And Robs is the same. Like he's so focused on what he does that he doesn't hear what we say.
The micro is so strong
But
that anything else doesn't matter.
he's good at making his own decisions, but sometimes tough because he's so focused on what he does that he don't listen to what's going on. And I remember we were in 5v3, we were 12-11 against Spirit, and I called something like, okay, take information B, and then we see, because you 5v3, you don't want to go to a stack. And it takes forever, and he's alone, Messi's going alone B, and then we go away, we lose the run, he looks like a disaster. Like, it looks awful. But then, everyone will say, what the fuck Why we just don't listen to exactly what we do because we so focus on what we do or we didn't understand or So when we talk, communication is a big thing. It's like a big thing. But when we talk, for us, for example, in communication, it's either like not like listening to each other in a way, or not having the right ping pong. So it's communication, but it's just like answering to each other. Okay, I do that. Okay, then I will do that. And then the third, okay, then I do that. Like making decisions with each other. That's what is the most
On
important.
my team, I like to go into that subject saying that it's like a math. 1 + 1 has to be 2.
Yeah.
Right? So there's many things everyone can do all the time in the game. But also when choosing something, then your options are now limited. Like if you think like now that he chose this path, now I could do 10 things, but now that he chose this one, only 2 things are good.
Yeah, exactly.
So 1 + 1 needs to be 2. And if this guy is missing those things, then one is doing something, and then you go out of the round, your idea is very good, but they're completely different.
And you 3v5.
Yeah.
If you, for example, sometimes I play aggro there, and me I play aggro there. I'm like, no, we choose one and we play around that one. Because if we do that, like it might work. Because if they both need each other,
of course, yeah.
yes, but like as a pure tactic and us, we are IGL, we need to take care of that. It's bad. It's a bad decision. So no, we choose the first one at the ID and we build around it. So that's also like.
Those are the basics that people should be trying to learn more than copying strategies. I think those are the things that the smaller teams they don't see because they're all so busy copying stuff and what they do with small mini plays, but they're not really watching the macro and understanding why people are doing stuff. And that's why you have this big gap that only a few teams can really go through. You know?
That's why big up and downs for
Those are the hardest things in CS. They look the easiest, but they're the hardest ones.
This is the philosophy, like the system. That's what all of this is, right? What's on right here.
But that's why I say it's really close to each other. Like the way we build rounds, we try to have trades, we have to make sure that when someone does a play, we play around him. That's why it seems sometimes they play super good, super aggro on all the maps. It works for 2 months, and the next 3 months. It's a big disaster.
And then
They play super bad.
And then they try to figure out like what went wrong, and then maybe they're looking in the wrong direction. Like
We
it's
don't need
not-
our shots.
No, that's why. Oh, we're just not hitting our shots. Oh, the calls are bad. Oh, we're not. We're missing. I mean, obviously, missing utility is also kind of crucial, right? But it's like they sometimes look for the answer in the wrong direction. I mean, like, and I think, as you mentioned, like I think all the best teams in the world, they like if you ask them, they probably all of them do kind of the same. Like everyone is kind of sort of thinking the same way with a few variations of how they like to play. But I think they all understand Counter-Strike in sort of the same way, and it's all about like on the day it's all about like who's actually most ready, but at the same time it's also who's like more prepared, and then obviously it's that's also why I feel like we've seen a super good season, but for a long time we've seen that a lot of teams are like going back and forth in victory. So.
Remember in the past, people were like sitting on lands, and you sit like this, and you watch in the screen of your teammate, right? Nowadays, people don't do like this.
Didn't do that anymore, right?
Yeah.
I die so much because my team.
You lose a lot.
I lose.
You pass, right?
Even though I lose like so many stuff because I'm watching the screen of my teammate. Because then, if I lose, I always like he has the overview usually because he's the op, so I know what's going on on the side. I look at the screen a lot. And nowadays it's true, people don't look at each other's screen. They're like, you can dark count actually.
So the communication is the only option, or the only way for nowadays to see the screen of your teammate. He must say something. Depends what he will say. This is directly what is how it can describe a little bit what is happening on his POV. And that's why for Ekinder I think it's crucial to have good communication. Otherwise he cannot see what is happening on his POV.
Another thing that changed this topic is the fact that you can see your teammates' grenades as well on their overview. Because before, if they didn't tell what they had, how are we executing?
Yeah.
It made people talk so much more.
Yeah.
So it's like a downside.
Very lazy now.
It's all downside now for players that, you know what I have, check it out.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
There's even a lot of that stuff, even with the radar, right? And obviously, this has been like this for a long time now, but back in the day for all of us, right? Whether it was Source 1.6, there was no information on the radar, right? So you had to communicate everything. Now, right, you've got the map view, you see the enemy.
Yeah, you have to write down the money. Yeah. 4K, you have it, right?
Oh yeah.
But all those things are kind of gone. They're part of a bygone era that no longer exists. So I guess having to, the young players coming up now, they're all sharp, they can all shoot, but the things that they're lacking are the ones that make Team Counter-Strike, which is what makes the best teams in the world. So I guess that's the hard part, right? Being able to educate players. And that's maybe why, you academy projects, that helps streamline those factors of the Team Counter-Strike. Is that the biggest focus with academy? I guess you haven't had anything to do with academy project in a long time now. It's been a long time.
Yes, I think academies is a huge thing, but need more structure. I agree. Like in sport, you just need to have the same philosophy in all squads, and
Like Barcelona in football.
kinda or some other maybe Benfica or some other team. Basically, you need to know that the unit, or the soldier of this squad, who you take to your team, will know at least these basics.
Yeah.
Right? This is foundation. Yes, this will be amazing if academy players will have this kind of structure. But I think more experienced coaches will start to come to academies, right? More and more, and then obviously they will know more, they will teach more, and everything is evolving, basically. But obviously you need more budget for everything. But for me, it's hard to focus on two projects. So
It's no way. Nowadays we have at least 15 to 16 events per year. You have to practice at home. You have to take care of yourself. So no way you have time to take care of the academy.
Yeah.
The only thing you can do is sometimes have meetings with the other coach, maybe to have a few talks. But that's it. You can't really take care of
Real help is hard,
real help.
Yeah, but one thing is, a couple of years ago they had big academy tournaments, right?
Yeah.
I remember some Brazilian guys traveling. Those tournaments are not happening anymore, right?
Yeah.
It's sad. It was good.
That was one of the very good things.
That's interesting to watch because that's when the talents they got a lot of airtime, but also against each other, kind of same level. You could easily spot if there was one that kind of stood out that was being really good.
One is time.
That's what I mean,
When
right?
you watch those tournaments, right? It's always playing those
And
tournaments.
also the whole mouse squad at that point,
Exactly.
obviously they
Yeah.
the main team now is basically their academy team
Yeah.
almost, right?
Yeah.
They stood out. They were by far the better ones. So that's an interesting.
They should bring this back. I think this is very good for the scene.
Now we are asked maybe create more lands.
Yeah,
I think maybe it's even better.
In Brazil, the lands are kind of back.
For academy teams now go to these lands, and I think LAN experience is the best.
Yeah, when you have a player that never played LAN before, we have the example of when you picked up Kyojin, when you're going right to his first LAN, he was was like that. What the hell?
Different civilization, right?
Also, whoa, it's crazy here.
It's kind of the same with when the Falcons picked up Kyusuke. He, I think he was also at a point where he had to he's am I supposed to use in-ears or something? He didn't bring in-ears or something. I think there was a video where he forgot or he didn't know how to put it up or whatever it was, or put in his settings or something. It's funny that for every one of us here, that's just been our life for maybe you've been
Take it for granted, right?
So yeah, but it's crazy to think that there's so many people that just want to be in our shoes, right? They want to experience what we're experiencing. And for us, it's just our daily life.
Yeah.
And you also got to just make room for the new ones coming in. We do, in my opinion, see a huge generational shift coming in now, a lot of new players. And I think we're at a state now where all the young players, they can see what they can actually achieve here. That this is the lifestyle they want to go to. And I think it's crazy to see that there's so many young players nowadays that is so good already, at an age of 15, they're already really good. They just need to be pushing in the right direction, which is also why I believe that the academy teams is something that can be very beneficial because they need to get like the right kind of catering to understand how to function. One thing is that you're good at shooting heads. The other thing is that you also need to be able to function within a team and be, you know,
Bigger person,
be
right?
a bigger person.
Smart,
Have
some
expectations, right?
Yeah.
And like there's a lot of responsibility, especially when you get to these type of tournaments and you get like a front figure for a lot of people and everything. So it's I think a lot of the I'm thinking like a player like Dunk, you know, he probably, I wouldn't say he came out of nowhere, but like with the status he has right now as being
With these levels, I'm sure.
What's crazy is like, now people evolve so much thanks to all the tools we have. Like back then, it will never happen like that. A player will not evolve that fast. He will come to a team and he will evolve in the team. But now they're ready almost. Like in a month, you feel like they're not full ready, but they shoot well.
Exactly.
They know. But this is different. That's really rare. But if you put Zero maybe before, like in the time where we were like competing at the beginning, you will not evolve that fast because you couldn't evolve that fast. You couldn't. You had to throw your nades by yourself. You had to you didn't have like a
Reset,
no
right.
skybox set pause. Like copy paste, throw the goal. Oh, okay, this is this smoke.
Thanks for
Like,
that.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot more help.
Everything was like you have to do it by yourself. That's why now people like, as Fernand mentioned before, that the youngsters, like most of the young team, they're just good at copy paste. They're not reflecting what's going on really about the game. How do I need to play the game? You know, they just do stuff or they do stuff that they like to do or they saw. They won't like be why it's working or what else can I do? Because this is like I'm getting fucked by this player right now. Okay, I can't do anything. What can I do to counter this play? You know, do stuff like where before we were reflecting about that, we had to because we had nothing. Like we had no YouTube. We couldn't rewatch our games like back then at the beginning. So you have to like think about okay, this game I did like that, or you go on the GoTV and watch the game. So I think the tools now everyone evolves so quicker because they have everything. Back then we had.
Are you a big demo viewer or Skybox viewer nowadays?
Skybox. I had struggled at the beginning.
Have you ever thought about it? Because I was full demo before there was no Skybox, and I was able to learn so much from just seeing how he picks something, how he does something. Now I understand a lot about the macro, but the macro is missing, you know? Because I only watch the 2Ds.
Yeah, you're right, but it's still like I had struggled to go back. I was watching either VODs, because I really like to watch the radar, etc., and the demos, and I struggled to go on Skybox at the beginning. But everyone told me, you should do it, etc. I was, no, I like to play my game like that. My weights take longer, but I like it. But yeah, I mean, it's so much easier. Though. I mean, now you see the big thing. Okay, this guy is here, this guy is here. Okay, next map, next one. No, you around.
50 seconds.
Yeah, 15 seconds, 15 seconds, 15. You're like this.
It's like TikTok games.
Yeah, exactly. It's so quick. But before. You didn't have that. You had to watch a demo, download the demo, bad internet, you had to wait for the demo.
HLTV $1 per time.
Exactly. So, you know, those things like that's why now people, it's so easier. Like how many tutorials you have on YouTube?
Yeah.
How do I pick? How do I shoot? How do I think? Like, how do I think is great. It's like ChatGPT, you know, in 2050, like people will not be able to do anything.
Yeah.
How do I talk in the microphone? Move your lips. ChatGPT say, move your lips. Okay.
ChatGPT should I go to school today?
Exactly.
You can, but you shouldn't.
But these small lands, like what people will have now, like these academy players and others, tier 3, tier 4 teams, they will go a lot to lands, right? You all experienced this critical lands before, right? Like because I remember in 2001, 2002, 3, I was playing lands, but obviously later it was the same, right? Because this mini lands like is kind of like this vibe,
That we had
atmosphere,
That's the best vibe, yeah.
and now they will experience it again. These young players.
It's great, yeah. Great to be sequenced.
Back then we could sleep on site.
Yeah.
Right now in France it's not allowed to sleep on site.
Really?
No, it's not allowed. Yeah, you have to take your hotel. So before you could just take your
Sleeping bag.
Yeah, sleeping bag and you sleep under the. That's the basics.
At that time, you know, we
Nobody
did it
made.
we did it for the love of the game, right?
Yeah.
Now it's like, I mean, sure, it's still for the love of the game, but back then, like, there were no like kind of future. Like, it was just like because we loved it and we liked the vibes.
Obsession.
It's like it's the obsession of just, you know, we want to compete, but at the same time, it wasn't, you know, a professional. Like, people would show up like I don't know, at half an hour before the game, and like we didn't really prepare. We just played your game. Like there was no like deeper thoughts to it. It's changed. I mean, I even think back to how Katowice when we got to play this go at Katowice when like we played this this like it was like in the gym.
Like gym,
Yes.
Where we usually did the media day after there.
We did the media day in there, and then like there was like a setup, and there
Squares.
was like squares. You were sitting in a square, and someone was playing a game, and then I believe it was in 14 passion. He opened like a knife, and we were sitting next to them. I think our game had just started, but they were like, "Ah, just open a knife!" And
you like focus on the major.
We're playing major, but Passion's like opening knives, and it was like, "Oh, everyone's like, oh, we're gonna do it!" And you could just walk behind pretty much any team, and then just watch it. Like you couldn't back in the old days. That I loved doing that back in the days, because then you could get like an idea of the communication. But nowadays it's much more. If someone walks up behind,
They don't watch. They let you watch anymore. One time I went for a tournament in 2014, I think, and I saw Get Right playing Pete on this too, and he was playing like a 1v3 or something, 3v3, and I was like, this guy is shooting 3 people, not saying a single word. Like he doesn't communicate as he's shooting. Like, so maybe I'm talking too much. Like, I'm taking those insights right from watching people. But
it's like the beauty of it, how it's developed and evolved throughout the years, right? I mean, one thing is like all the way from like the local lands that we had fun at, but then also just seeing the tournaments that we're at now, how they were a decade ago. I think
It's changed so much. Like that's what I said. Like when we went to the PGL like stadium for Media Day in 17, we had the where now everything is built for the groups. It was the tournament area and the practice room were the same place.
Yes.
So we had the practice room close to each other. Like we were like Vitality here, and maybe we had this. Like we
It
were.
was in Krakow.
Yeah, it was the same as the arena here, and like it's so funny that like I remember Mamo in 17, I think, was like we were in one room all together.
Yeah.
You were in practice room, you don't have the other, you're one room all together. And when you look even before, no practice room. So you were at an event, better grind before, because during the event,
you don't do
you don't have
it.
time. You don't get to play a major. You don't have time to play any deathmatch. You arrive to use setup, you have 20 minutes to warm up. Better play good today.
Because if you go back in time and think about it, that was just like normal.
Yeah.
And everyone was fine with it. That's just how it was.
It was the same for everyone, so everyone was fine with it.
Like,
Imagine if you showed up nowadays and people were just like, we don't have practice rooms. We're like, fuck that, we're going home.
I think that E-League was the first one to do prac rooms, if I remember, and that was on site, yeah. But what you guys are talking about hits me so hard because we'd travel from Australia 24 hours and then we'd get to the event and then that'd be the first time we'd play Counter-Strike since we left Australia.
I imagine.
And we even had long travel too. I remember there was one event we went to and that's when they nerfed the A1S. So we're like in there and we're still playing with all them 4. Yeah, and we had...
I think was the beginning. I think it was towards this moment.
It could have been. I don't. It's a long time ago now.
Shot less, way faster.
But I just remember like those things, and you're just like, well, I guess this is what we have to do, right? And you see what it's evolved into these days, mate. Even now as a caster, I get a PC in my room. It's sick. Like,
I'm enjoying my life too. It's full location mode.
plans and
But
facts.
I get to play what I want. I'm not forced to play Counter-Strike anymore.
Get him to serve it.
I actually have two questions for you regarding the whole thing you just said with Australia and Counter-Strike. The first one is, how is it actually as living so far away and with all due respect being pretty shit at Counter-Strike for so long, traveling so far all the time and being eliminated in last and then going back?
It was fun.
You want to be you want to take that step up, right? Like when you're playing at home and you're dominating the competition, you want to get an opportunity to play against the best teams in the world.
Yeah.
So when you would go there, you were giving it your all, and whether it happened or not, it didn't matter because you were giving it your all in that moment, right? And you were hoping to have that breakthrough. So it's like any win or tiny success we had.
Talk about
It's a
Titan.
success.
Titan in 15.
But this is the thing. Like when you guys started going to the early majors and we were there at the same time.
14, yeah.
Yeah, this is why he's successful and I'm not. He found solutions. I couldn't find solutions. Like I didn't know what I needed to do to push us to the next level.
I think also something that we didn't talk, but something that is really important as well, is that Brazil had success before.
Oh,
That's
in
also-
1.6, sure, yeah.
But it's
History success. 16, 19.
It's still like a mindset, the way you play, the culture. When you talk about the culture, for me, that's why I also like, now in France it went really down, but like for a long time, we had the same philosophy. So, of course, you knew how to play like Counter-Strike in a way. While in Brazil, of course, they had in 0.6 where they were good, and then it was tough until like Kaboom arrived.
In 2006, it was prime because they won SWC.
Yeah.
So it was big, like major. And then 2010 we were already playing. We went semi-finals in WCG. We lost for Neil.
So you still have, you know, something, when in a country when you play together and you had nothing, like it never happens anything like except the Renegades in 2019 where they did good, but before that nothing happened.
Yeah.
So you had no idea, like just the philosophy to win or play with winners, you know. For me that changed something, that when you play with players with existence, when I arrived with existence, with Shucks, they won before. They know what to deal with. And
Surf, they
same,
won a lot. They're the biggest team right in Surf. Yes, Surf.
yeah, yes, exactly. When I arrived in very games, you know, and same when people started to play with Fallen, like Kozera, Fer, and Taco, they were like, okay,
Yeah, they're
now
right.
we know FNX, playing with FNX as well. Those guys won. They know how
Know the
to,
recipe.
they know, you know, and that's something for me really different, that when you play with someone that already won, you know, they know the success. It's small things like the mindset, the like never been tired of working. You always hear the same stuff from people that won a lot. Like I'm sure, like when we go to practice room and you still see follow me, like we are on the computer like late and we work on stuff that the other don't, etc. While when you see that in your younger players, like it gives
Drives
you,
you,
it
yeah.
helps you,
Yeah.
it drives you, and you're like ready to go with this guy until you're dead. And that's something really important in my opinion.
The second one, I hope you remember this one. You definitely will. Where's your what happened to the inflatable kangaroo?
Yeah, it got a hole in it at one of the events.
No
we never
way.
got a new one.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
okay.
You had this inflatable kangaroo that you'd pass on, and then people would sign it.
Yeah, well, we needed a gimmick, right? Because we couldn't be good in the service. I made people love us in a different
But
way.
hey, it worked.
Yeah,
I remember it,
Yeah,
yeah.
But you guys tried moving to United States at some point, right?
yeah, and
But late, maybe?
We were living in Vegas.
But I mean, you guys moved too late, or what?
Oh, I don't know. I think it was also part of having to evolve the gameplay, right? When you get thrown into it and you haven't really had a chance to address like why were we successful in some of the games that we had won, right? We were just kind of in the constant of it, and I'm trying to work out how to lead against the best players in the world. I'm like, oh my god, like what? You know, and then when you're not finding success and you're at the bottom of the scoreboard, I just took it internal, right? So I looked at myself as the problem. So I didn't get a chance to reflect. There also wasn't a network of people around me who knew like, okay, we need to take a step back and readdress the entire approach. Just looked at some of the games. No, nothing like that, right? And
No reference, like you're saying, you have to figure out by yourself. There's not nowhere to look at. It's hard. Yeah.
yeah. So it was just a tough situation. But I think in the end, like I watched more tape of Counter-Strike being an analyst and commentator than I did as a player. Right? Obviously, I was watching all the games and part of the games, but now like getting to look at it, I was like, and I wish I just had like 1/5
Of this knowledge you have now?
to take right there.
Yeah.
There's a
I
chance.
think about that now. Even us, like, I will win for 3 years straight, mate. It would be so easy. The knowledge now for 5 years. It's so crazy.
But yeah, it was a weird time. But I'm glad that some of the boys went on and had some success, like Justin and stuff. And, you know, but that's why I think Azza being with the team now, the FlyQuest
They
guys,
got better instantly. I saw it.
Yeah.
Like, I will be honest, whenever he stepped behind them, I saw the difference. Instant. Of course, it's not there yet, but I saw it like in the major in Starladder and the event before they did. I saw that whenever you have someone, and mostly as I said, on the country that's been a bit successful, he hasn't been like is in this table. He hasn't been successful, but in Australia, it's been super
Yeah.
successful for like the rest. So for me, it's really important that a player like that takes over and helps those youngsters too,
yeah.
because they will listen to him.
Now they have the reference, right? JKS is there. He knows the stuff.
Yes, exactly.
He played in big teams.
Yeah, he helps.
It's a little privilege that if you're best in Australia, you have more opportunities, right?
Well, you have the opportunities that you can get from Australia, right? Which is
From what year they started to pay qualifier, like this thing with qualifiers, you go to like EPL or some other like events?
that's a good question. I know like back in the early days, like 1.6 days, like WCGs or ESWCs and stuff, people had to pay for a license to run like local LAN events, right? And then when we moved into CS:GO, we went to that MSI Beat It event, and then we went to try and qualify for DreamHack Winter. The first one we played the BOFC in the main LAN hall. And then from there, once we had those first couple of majors, I think that's when Australia started to get the invites.
Yeah, like paying for hotels,
Yeah.
for travels.
But that's probably not
Maybe 16, 17.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably
I'll
not
say
like
up to
that.
15, 16.
Yeah.
From that point, basically, if you're best in Australia, you can always go on the permanent basis, like to Europe to practice with the best teams. One time lesson, second time lesson. Then you can get so much experience, so much knowledge, and build everything, right? I think it's kind of from my point of view, it will be this kind of engine, like motivator, why you should do this.
I agree, but I think that if you don't have a player that, when us, of course, it's easy for us because we have the knowledge of CS and we've been there and we play at the top for a long time and you coach at the top for a long time. But when you don't have this knowledge, because you never won, or it's, if you watch a demo with someone that doesn't know your knowledge, you will see different stuff than he sees. He sees the basics. So if he doesn't know, it's tough to learn it by yourself. Like, watching a demo,
What really matters, right?
so many different, like me, I see a move there. Me, I see that what build there, like what they made before to do the rotation. And like when people just watch, they see just, he did amazing headshot and this pick is nice, or this move is nice, And I think that's the knowledge, even though it's nice for Australia to have this privilege, and mostly if you are the best in Australia, because it means you invited a lot of events.
Yeah.
I mean, VRS now is a bit different, but before. But if you don't have the knowledge, it's tough to. If no one helps you with the knowledge, like it's you need that.
Where to focus, right? What to
Yes,
look at.
what to do?
Yeah.
What to really do? When you look at like when I hear, for example, in Vitality in other games, the way they do stuff, the way they do stuff before the game, I'm like, what the hell? Like people need to teach them. Like they have no idea because the game is 6 years old, our is 25.
I suggest you make Australia great again. You have the knowledge now to go back and teach the kids.
True. I got a couple more years of this, but then after that, we'll give it a go. I'll give it a go. So,
Imagine you have Sky Edge basically in Melbourne, and you have Sky Edge in I don't know, like Germany somewhere. Like it doesn't matter. Like you
it's
can
the
learn
same
everything.
thing,
Yeah, true.
So nowadays also you can hire a good performance coach, you can hire a good coach, and like day by day, like having this privilege to constantly go into the
Try your
level.
best self out every time, right?
Yes, best lands, you always have best lands constantly. I think like some teams from Europe cannot get to this lands because competitive levels.
Yeah, they're far ahead in this, and
yeah, I think that you're bang on. It's changed with the VRS, right? Because of the amount of spots and the way it's invited. But there was like a good patch of time where what you're talking about is
the last 6-7 years before the rest,
But that's what they did.
Yeah.
Like they were living in a small house in I don't remember
Yeah,
where.
so what happened to us? Yeah, as soon as we went to that 2 tournaments in the US, one of them Bleed Cloud 9, remember?
Yeah, it was
Had a
like
big
a
Mirage
game.
game,
Yeah.
and everyone's talking, those guys can play from Brazil, and then we went to another tournament, and then they invited us to play the major qualifier in Poland, actually, close by here.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we played that tournament, we went back to Brazil, there was nothing to do anymore. We're like, okay, it's over. That's all. We could play 2 tournaments, we used all the money,
Valorant.
used money from students and money from our pockets to go for US, and now it's over. Now Kabul didn't want to make us risk our help. Yeah, it was Kabul at the time. But they didn't really think that investing all those dollars for us to travel would mean anything. And then ESA opened up the NA League.
Yes.
And that's when we went all in. We're like, it doesn't matter, we're going to fight on the internet, we're going to tell people, we need a spot. And then everyone we're in the community, like, we need this spot, and then they gave us a spot. If you guys can be here, like, in 2 days, you can play. And that's where we're like, it doesn't matter. We're leaving everything behind, and we're going.
But that's a good story.
It's a 6 though. Yeah.
Like with like back then, Flusha giving his cash prize to her guys after Pantamera, I remember because I played that even, and living like I know like with LG, the house you were living in was not like crazy house back then. You were sleeping together, but fuck it, we're here.
I share a bed with her.
Yeah, we don't have to do. Yeah, we
One
don't
time I
have
was
to.
looking at night, and we were like, oh, fine, like, sorry, I was sleeping.
But keep going, keep going.
But you were like just giving your hurts just to be the best, and that's also like the big stories of back then. Because now a young player is a face-it player, playing so good, arrive in a tier 2, tier 1 team, winning 5K a month minimum, travel like for free everywhere. Like
Gets a different idea of what it is,
you
right?
didn't know how hard it was for us
Exactly, yeah.
to get to small lands,
That's what
sleep
I'm
under a
telling-
table.
That's what I tell them all the other time.
Yes, I remind them. I say, guys, your life is fucking easy. My life is easy as well. No, but I went through hard shit before. You need to tell the youngsters that no, they're really lucky.
It's a different time, isn't it, right? But
We've paved the path.
But this is it, right? Now we're going in arenas every 2 weeks, right? We've got thousands of people around the world who are watching, the type of salaries that people are getting, the lifestyle that people are getting out of all of this.
Yeah.
And then that has obviously allowed the game to be refined to the point that we were talking about, right? Just like with these tools, but also the level of focus and everything that you can put in. It's going to be interesting to see where we are in the next 10 years, right? Because
crazy.
I think that in-game leaders like the two of you are unfortunately a dying breed, right? Because of everything that you were built on, right? It's gonna be you guys will be coaches, right? You'll be doing what Blade's doing, right?
I'm not sure.
No?
That's a ladder player.
We live it means that we will live the same life
Same
again.
life. That's the problem for me.
Leave us alone, mate.
Just with the worst center.
Yeah, fuck, it's not about money.
Maybe even more salary.
I mean, it's about
Potentially a
maybe let us time to spend the money we want as well. Like no, we need we need to just enjoy life as well. And for me, I'm not sure I'm gonna be coach because of that. Because if it's the same lifestyle,
I think the
French people speak about enjoying life.
you're not enjoying
No, I
life.
mean like French people like it's like one of their like philosophy or
Okay.
like DNA. Like you must enjoy life.
With cheese.
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think I'm not sure. I mean, I think for everyone, maybe you talk less about those things, but I know as well you like to enjoy life.
Oh,
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. It's a basic like we spend so much time on what we do. That's like yeah, it's been me. I play CS for 19 years. I've been traveling for 15. Like after that,
But we have to ask this guy because he was in your shoes not so long ago, and now how is it? How is freedom?
Freedom is good, but it comes. But it comes with a price. I think that the most difficult thing is like this is what we've been doing for so long, and I guess for all of us, it's been like it's been our hobby that has become now our professional life as well. But then when you like can't tell that you don't want to do this anymore, then it only takes a couple of months before you start realizing like that all the things that you've been doing for so long, how much you've been enjoying, but like what's next? I think that's like the big topic. I mean, for some people it's maybe easier, depending on what they've been doing. While I mean, like you have a lot of things going on with your career, so maybe it's gonna be easier for you. But you leave your identity as a player behind, and at least for me, it's been like I've had Dupree, but I've also had Peter, so it's like, and I've kind of mixed those together. But once I leave Dupree behind, then I'm only Peter. Then what else am I good at in life? In some sense, right? It's like you're
talking French.
Yeah, but it's like your professional life is so connected to your personal life as well, and then figuring out what you want to do after your career. I think that's like the most
It's
difficult.
gonna be another question.
Yeah,
That's why I'm still here.
Yes.
Not for long.
And I think that I actually think that they're extremely afraid of the unknown because it takes a lot of thought to like retire. Obviously now I'm grateful to be able to give a little bit back on the other side of the monitor, but it's something I'm still searching for, like what is that next chapter for me? What am I going to be doing for maybe the rest of my life? Can I find something that will give me I don't think I'm ever going to find something that gives me the same kind of joy that I've experienced, but it's like in a different way. It's like a big part of my life.
It's like we were born on TikTok and now they're gonna take our cell phones away. Basically, right? What you gonna do next?
But I have a question for you. Does it scare you the after or no?
Honestly, it's not about being scared about next because, like Peter said, I have so many opportunities.
Yeah, but it's not about when I scare.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm fine as well. Like let's be honest, financially we have a long career. It's fine, but just like the adrenaline, like the losing that we've been traveling for so long, being with people, like working hard to get to the point to winning trophies, and this feeling like being
I was ready to let it go, and then this team was just too good. I'm gonna be honest, like I was like preparing myself to let it go, and then the team was just too good. I was like, I played for 8 years, like shit. Now that's super good. I'm just gonna leave, right? Yeah, so a little bit of that.
Stop and talk.
Yeah, but at the same time, like for me, it's even harder because I'm not from Europe and I have to stay in Europe a lot of time. That means I'm away from my family and from my wife all the time. So it takes a toll, And I have been with my wife now for 15 years. It's gonna be 15 years together. And at some point, you gotta do other stuff as well, Like I wanna have kids and all those things, and so that's where the fear is a little bit, But yeah, I'm just enjoying a little bit more, and then it's time to go. I already know that, but it's fine. For me, it's just enjoying a little bit more.
in peace with that.
In peace.
Okay,
I think
because it scares me a bit more.
And there's also some days where I lose a tournament, for example, or even when I won. I think we won the tournament in Serbia after so many years trying to win a tournament. Right? It was a nice tournament. And then, like as soon as I went at night, I was like, oh my god, like, it didn't change anything. Right? I'm working for 8 years, I won a tournament again. Like it doesn't really complete me any other way that I'm not already completed. You know what I mean?
That's why I think that the point there you mentioned is also means that it's so harder to lose then just the feeling you have of losing is so down that your feeling of winning is not that high.
even close.
It's not that high, you know. You know when we won, okay, it's like a luxury thing, but when we won Budapest, I felt happy, but not the same as I was happy with Paris.
No.
Like it's so
Never the same. It's never the same.
like I was happy, but then next go to vacation and next.
But it's actually insane that you. Sonic always had a saying that he hated losing more than he loved winning.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true.
And I think it's very true because it's specifically if you have had a season where you just like you go to a tournament and you're like the favorite to win and you kind of expect to win and then you do it and hey, that's what was kind of expected of us, right? It's way worse when you go and then you're just kind of you can only fail by losing in some sense. And I think regarding all these talks about now with the kids and family and people, I mean, it's for me it changed everything when I got my kids because it kind of put something else on my radar, like what's
most important?
It's just so philosophical, like what is the meaning of life, right? But it's like you Counter-Strike has always been that one thing in my life that was the most important thing.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden I decided to get kids, and then it just shifts like this. And not in the way that I didn't care about Counter-Strike anymore, but there was just like more
Something bigger.
something bigger in my life all of a sudden that took just maybe 10% of my focus, 10% of the things that I enjoyed I wanted to be with the kids. And I sometimes I talk with Sonic, and you know he's had 2 kids for the majority of the time that he's been my coach. I mean, the amount of things that he had to give up to be there with us and everything. I mean, like, and as you mentioned, like you also being away from your wife. You know, like the family at home is like the real MVP, right? The wife taking care of everything, and it's it just shifts your perspective when you get something else in life that all of a sudden it really does, because I wouldn't be able to continue as a player or as a coach as of right now with my kids being small, because I would just not be there for them, and that hurts. That hurts.
That makes you choose.
It makes
So you achieve something. Like for Danny, for example, he didn't, when he had his kids, like he didn't achieve anything yet in a way in CS:GO as a coach. So now he could leave because it happened. Like he's done. He's done. He has done what he did, even though he wants more now. But he's done. Like us, also we can retire in peace, I would say.
Like this guy hit our piece is the biggest major in all time, bro.
Yeah.
At least for now, until this guy win more.
Let's see. But I just to finish on that, I mean, I'm a big fan of Messi in football. I think he's the GOAT. And he said, and he said something about like the kids also when he as a player, when he had his first kids, he helped him to relax about what happened in general, because he's like, yeah, I lost this game, important game, but what's more important even than that is my family.
Something should look away.
Yeah, to look away. And for us, like, when you're playing and you don't have kids yet, even if we have family and girlfriend, it's not the same, you know?
I wanted to ask that how much you suffer on a tournament loss the same night. For me, it's so hard.
For me, it's
Got even worse. Like
it's not the night,
days was
it's
easier.
until the tournament is over. Then I feel better. But for example, we lose to you, I don't know, in Chengdu, I feel bad.
But
But
we're
all night.
out,
But
yeah.
if you lose in semi,
Yeah.
if you lose in semi,
when we're out,
yeah, when the tournament is done, I feel so bad, mate.
Like sleeping is hard, no?
Yeah, it's really, it
For
hurts.
me, I lost to Jam now, Part Vision, bro.
All about the expectations, I think, no?
Yeah, I mean, in
I
Cologne,
don't know what it is, honestly, because before, many years ago, I was dealing with that much easier. I was comfortable with losing. Maybe expectations, because I knew I had to get better in all the
But when
things.
you win again,
Yeah.
maybe it's like, oh, okay, I missed that. Yeah, maybe.
My head didn't let me sleep. I was watching something on the screen just because I knew that if I don't watch anything, I'm going to be thinking about the game. I don't want to think about the game right now. And it's 2 a.m. And then, okay, it's time to sleep. As soon as I shut down,
See, James.
yeah,
James.
game pops up on my head. Okay, let's watch something else again.
Is that different as a coach? Like, is it? I mean, like, do you also feel like if you've lost like a tournament that it's tough for you? Like, how?
I think loss is always about expectations. I mean, toughness of the loss, only about expectations. And obviously, if you like expect yourself to be like winning this, and then obviously like you're losing, and it was important for you, value was very high, and you will feel logically something like you are missing.
It took something from you.
Yeah, but if you are not expecting to win, like here on Copenhagen Major, then like no expectations, and then if you win this kind of thing, like this is crazy, this is the best ever.
That can happen. You're not even expecting to win, you won the day. It can happen.
Maybe imagine us in Cologne, like last year, we won. Before that, we won 7 trophies. Of course, I expect to win Cologne, and then you lose to Mars.
And
In 6 months you didn't lose. You're like, oh, that's how it feels. It feels super weird. You're just like, what the fuck just happened? Yeah, it feels so bad.
But this is a unique situation, I think.
That's what we experience is
Yeah.
I hope someone will experience it as well, because it's like you don't lose a game for 30 games in a row. You're like, at some point, I'm asking, when do we lose? Like, when are we going to lose?
You kind of feel like invincible somehow. Like, people can throw anything at you, but you'll always
Have an answer.
you'll always have an answer, or someone in the team will have an answer, or you will win for some reason. It's kind of crazy to feel like you're in this
It's a
kind
little
of
bit
bubble.
what happened to us before I lost to them.
Yeah.
Because we had like 4 tournaments in a row basically.
Right, yeah.
And I was joking with Mike when we were sharing rooms. I was like, can't stop winning, bro. I don't know what we're doing, but cannot stop winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then suddenly you can.
I would love to.
Everyone loses some days.
Yeah.
I would love to
At
keep
some
this
point.
conversation going with like beers and everything, but I heard someone has practiced at 3.
It's me.
Okay, so we had a hard out that was 3 minutes ago, so we're over by 3 minutes.
Let's go.
So I apologize for bringing this to a close because it's been a great conversation. I appreciate everyone's time and everyone who shared here today. So that just made it sound like an AA meeting. Good luck to yeah, that's true. Good luck to you guys in the tournament, and thank you very much for your time. This was an absolute banger. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.